Burleson, Texas just might be one of the most overlooked suburbs in Fort Worth right now. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be that way for much longer. Over the next few years, Burleson is about to go through major transformation. We're talking about over $2 billion in new development, or around 7,000 new homes, two massive master plan communities, new commercial space, trails, parks, town centers, and resort style amenities, all in a suburb where the median home price is still under $350,000. Now, when most people talk about moving to the Fort Worth suburbs, Burleson usually isn't one of the first names that come up on the list. You still hear names like Southlake, Keller, Aledo, and Mansfield for good reason. But that's exactly why Burleson is worth paying attention to right now. Because while everybody else is focused on suburbs that are already thriving, Burleson is still in that window where you can get affordability, new homes, solid schools, and growth before everything fully takes off. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Devin with the Fort Worth Blueprint, and today we're breaking down Burleson, Texas in 2026. The location, the schools, the home price, the major developments that are coming, and more importantly, whether Burleson actually makes sense for you and your family. So without further ado, let's get into it. Burleson is located just south of Fort Worth along I-35 West and the Chisholm Trail Parkway. The city has about 52,000 people, and it sits along the lines of Tarrant and Johnson counties. So that location is one of the main reasons why Burleson is getting a lot of attention right now. You still have great access to Fort Worth, and you're not automatically pushed into those higher price points that you'll see in some of the more established Fort Worth suburbs. Now, if you work in downtown Fort Worth, you're looking at about 25 to 30 minutes of travel time. If you work at Lockheed Martin, you're looking at about 15 minutes. Arlington and Mansfield are also pretty close, about 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the exact area. So basically, if your life is kind of centered around the areas of South Fort Worth, Arlington, Mansfield, Crawley, Cleburne, or just anywhere kind of in that vicinity, then Burleson can actually make a lot of sense for you. The Chisholm Trail Parkway gives Burleson better access into Fort Worth, and the parkway is expanding now with the infrastructure that's starting to catch up with the growth that's coming. Now, I'm not saying that the traffic is going to completely disappear, because let's be honest, this is still DFW. But Burleson can be a smart location if your job, family, or lifestyle are already connected to this side of town. So if you work in places like North Dallas, Plano, Frisco, McKinney, then you might want to do some research and really make sure that Burleson would be the right move, because you're looking at about an hour to an hour and a half of travel time, possibly just one way. But if you're in Fort Worth or Arlington or Mansfield or a remote worker, this can be a great option. Now, one nice thing about Burleson is it has Old Town, which is an historic downtown with local restaurants, shops, and community events. So one thing about Old Town is it's not trying to be South Lake, Town Square, and it's not trying to be Grapevine Main Street, but it does give Burleson some character. And that actually matters, because some of the suburbs that you go to nowadays feel like they're just houses, gas stations, and grocery stores. Old Town gives Burleson that community feel with, all the development that's coming. And I think the local identity is going to really matter even more. So it's still growing, it's still improving. It's not the most polished downtown area that you'll see in the DFW, but it does give the city a place where you can gather, eat, hang out, and actually feel like you're connected to the area. And that brings me to one of the biggest questions that, families always ask me when locating to Burleson is, what are the schools like? Now, Burleson ISD is very solid. Now, it's not one of the districts where people are moving from across the country because the school rating like they would for Keller or Aledo ISD, but it's a district where a lot of families are extremely happy and comfortable with. According to Niche, Burleson gets a B+, which is extremely good, for the area. And the district serves about 12,700 students across 18 schools. So it's not tiny, but it's not like that huge district either that can feel overwhelming or, feel like your kid can get lost. Now, the district ranks in the top third of schools in Texas with a graduation rate of 93%, with math and reading scores being above state average. But most importantly, when families are comparing suburbs, schools are usually one of the top things to look at, and you can't go wrong with Burleson. Now, I don't want to oversell it at all. Burleson ISD is not Carroll or Aledo, like I mentioned, and it's not going to be viewed as one of the elite districts in DFW. But that's also why you're also not paying, those South Lake Aledo home prices. You're getting a solid school district with more realistic price point, and for a lot of families, that balance makes a lot of sense. Now, one thing I do really like about Burleson ISD is that it has specialty programs that help the district stand out more. Burleson Collegiate High School is STEM focused, and they have a bunch of STEM middle schools as well. And they offer dual credit opportunities so that students can earn college credits while they're still in high school. So Burleson may not, be the district that gets all the headlines, but it's really dependable. And if you want the solid schools without chasing the most expensive zip codes in DFW, then you can't go wrong here. So you got the location, you've got the schools, and now let's take a look at, what it's like to buy in the area. Now, this is where Burleson really starts to set itself apart from other suburbs. The median home price sits around $345,000, which makes it one of the most affordable in the Fort Worth area, where you can still get newer homes and access to, major job areas. Now, to put it into perspective, Keller sits around $600,000. Grapevine and Mansfield are pretty close to that $600,000, if not a little bit more. And then South Lake is a completely different conversation. So when people ask, Devin, where can I still buy a newer home in Fort Worth without, feeling completely priced out? And Burleson has to be in that conversation. That mid $300,000 price point can still get you a pretty solid home, depending on the neighborhood, the condition, the age, the builder, and the exact location. You can find 3 to 4 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms, and a 2-car garage, and somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 square feet at a pretty reasonable price. Another big advantage is a lot of the homes that are in stock right now are going to be newer. So we're seeing, the homes built in the 2010s through 2020s, compared to a lot of older suburbs, which are going to have those, 1980s, 1990s homes. So if you want that newer home feel, then Burleson's going to be, the great place to be. Now, here's part of what you need to know. Burleson isn't going to give you the same, mature trees, older, custom neighborhoods, historic charm that you might find in your Grapevines or your Kellers or other, established areas like that. A lot of the newer suburb developments, again, are what you're going to find here. So you're going to see the subdivisions, the newer construction, the family-focused neighborhoods, and in some areas, unfortunately, you're going to see smaller lots. But, if a priority for you right now is affordability, then Burleson, you really can't go wrong, compared to other Fort Worth areas. And now with, communities like Chisholm Summit and Tallgrass coming, that value is just going to get even bigger, because we're not just talking about what Burleson is today. We're talking about what Burleson is going to be in the next, 5, 10, or 15 years. And that's where the city really gets interesting. Now let's get into 2 major developments that can completely change Burleson over the next few years. Now, the first major project is Chisholm Summit. This is a roughly $1 billion master plan community being developed by RA Developments, and it's expected to bring around 3,000 residential units over the next 15 to 20 years. Now, this isn't just another neighborhood with a pool and a playground. It's a lot more than that. Chisholm Summit is being planned as more of a live, work, play community, which is something Burleson has not had the scale for before. So the project is expected to include commercial space, office space, medical spaces, parks, trails, and community style downtown area called Chisholm Square. Now, that matters because when people talk about Burleson's growth, it's not that they're just adding rooftop bars or anything like that. It's adding things that make the suburb feel complete. People want convenience and they want options. They want the area around them to grow and, really feel like it's a community. And that's what Chisholm Summit is aiming to be. Equestrian center, parks, ponds, and 10 miles of interconnected trails. Now, for buyers here, the real side of it is if you're early enough, then you're going to save tons of money during the development. Now, there's just things you have to think about with that, and that's you're going to have to go through construction, road closures, road developments, and things like that. But if you're able to get past that point, then I think Chisholm Summit is going to be great for you, and it's going to be a big reason why a lot of people would choose to move to the Burleson area. Now, Tallgrass is the second major project that's coming to Burleson, and this one is even bigger. Tallgrass is a $1 billion, 621-acre master plan community near Chisholm Trail Parkway and FM 1902. So it's expected to be bringing around 4,000 new residential units and 1 million square feet of commercial, retail, employment spaces as well. So again, this isn't just houses. This is homes, jobs, retail, parks, trails, open spaces, and future town center. Now, here's the reality of it. Tallgrass is still extremely early. Phase 1 isn't expected to begin until around mid-2026, with homes coming 2027 and 2028. So if you're looking to move in the next month or so, then Tallgrass might not be the right move for you. But if you're playing the long game, then Tallgrass is definitely a project that you want to keep on your radar. Now, between Tallgrass and Chisholm Summit, Burleson is looking to add about 7,000 new homes and billions of dollars worth of investments. Now, that's truly the kind of growth that you want to see. All right, now, is Burleson perfect? No, and I don't think any, suburb is. You have to be okay with the growth. You have to be okay with the construction in some areas, and you have to make sure that, the commute works for you. And, you have to be honest about whether you want that newer suburban living or you want that established feel. But if you're looking for the value in the Fort Worth, then Burleson meets that criteria. It checks those boxes, not because it's the most popular suburb today, but, it may be that one day. And you don't want to be the person sitting there saying, hey, I wish I would have paid more attention when prices were more reasonable. So guys, if you're thinking about moving to Burleson or you want to compare, other Fort Worth neighborhoods, feel free to reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, or even scan the QR code on the screen. I'd be happy to sit down with you on a call and, just walk through the different areas and walk through the scenarios that might fit your life, whether you're buying, selling, or you're renting. And so let's really put your blueprint together to make sure that you make the best move for your situation. All right, guys, well, that's it for this video. I do this thing 1 to 2 times per week. So be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss the next video. And I'll see you on the next one.